the land, such land won't be suitable for agricultural purpose. Now, we'll take some examples, we'll take some questions to explain this much more better. The first question says, define land. Land is a solid part of the earth's surface, and its components is the solid part of the earth's surface, period. That, or you can say it is the outermost part of the earth crust. And then the second question says, state the two major classifications of land based of the land based on uses, and give two examples in each case. That is, state the two major classifications of land based on uses and give two examples in each case. Now we have here we have to state, that is, we can list, and then we have agricultural land, that is land meant for cultivation of crops and rearing of animals, and examples of its uses is crop production and then wildlife conservation. Now the second one is the second classification of land is the non-agricultural land, that is land used for non-agricultural purposes, and this include construction of industries, construction of land used for the construction of roads. Then the third question is, state and explain three examples, three characteristics of land. Land is geographically immobile, that is, you can't move your land from one place to another. Then the second one is the second characteristics of land is that land is a free gift of nature because it cannot be created by man. And the third characteristic of land is that it is limited in supply because the square meter of an area is always constant and cannot be increased. Then the fourth question is list 5 factors that influence the availability of land. The land tenure system affects the availability of land for agricultural purpose. The soil type. The third one is topography. The fourth one is climatic factor. The fifth is pressure of population. And then the sixth is soil fertility. These are factors that affect or influence the availability of land for agricultural purposes. Our next topic is agro-allied or agro-based industry. Agro-allied or agro-based industries are industries which depend directly or indirectly on agriculture for their raw materials in order to operate optimally. That is, these are industries that actually depends on agriculture for their raw materials. They can't produce anything without, because agriculture serves as their main source of raw material. So they depend on agriculture to supply them their raw material. That's the reason why they are being called agro-allied or agro-based industries. The following are agro-allied or agro-based industries, and the raw materials used in each industry, just as you can see in this table. Now, in that table we have majorly we have 3 columns. We have that of the agro-based industry and then their raw material. The beverage and coffee industry makes use of cocoa and tea as a raw material. The flour mill makes use of cereals, grains as the raw material, e.g. wheat, barley, and maize as the raw material. Then the fruit canning industries make use of fruits such as pineapple, orange, citrus, guava, apple. Just as we've been seeing on the cans and on the cans of the fruit juices we've been taking. Then the fourth, which is the textile and joinery industry, makes use of cotton. And then the starch industry makes use of cassava and maize as their raw material. Then the feed mill industry makes use of maize, groundnut, soybean, and so on as their raw material. The breweries make use of cereals such as millet, barley, and so on as their raw material. Then we have the plywood and the sawmill industry, which make use of timber, that is sunwood, or timber as their raw material. That is, they make use of logs of woods, which are harvested from the forest reserve. They make use of that as their raw material. Then the tire industry, that is, the tire makes use of rubber latex as the rubber latex from the rubber tree as their raw material. Then the oil mill makes use of oil seeds as their raw material. Then the soap industry actually makes use of oil and oil seeds as their raw material. Then the paper industry makes use of the pulp wood as their raw material. The cigarette or tobacco industry makes use of the tobacco leaves as their raw material. While the last one that we are having in this slide is the sugar industry, which makes use of sugar cane as its raw material. Now go to the subtopic of relationship between agriculture and the industry. There are various positive relationships between agriculture and industry, and these include the following. 1. Provision of raw material. Agriculture provides raw materials such as cocoa, rubber, latex, cotton, groundnut, palm produce for the industries. That is, all these they provide raw materials being required by by the agro-allied industries. Then 2. Provision of food. We are discussing the relationship between agriculture and the industries. Provision of food. Agriculture provides food for the industrial workers. That is, the food that the industrial workers eat. It is agriculture that provides it. Then 3. Provision of market. Agriculture provides market for the industrial products such as fertilizer, herbicides, insecticides, and farm machinery. It is agriculture that absorbs part of the products, that is, they serve as markets for the products of the industries. Then provision of essential goods. Industries provide large range of desirable goods that the farmers want to buy, such as the mobile phone, the computer, the television set, footwear, and electric fans. And then the 5th example is the provision of agrochemicals. Industries provide agrochemicals for agricultural uses, such as fertilizer, vaccines, herbicides, and pesticides. Then the 6th relationship between agriculture and the industry is the provision of agricultural tools and machineries. Industries produces machinery and equipment for agricultural uses, such as tractors, plows, cutlasses, and hoes. Then the 7th relationship is the provision of processing facilities. Industries also provide processing facilities such as the milling machine, the milking machine, and so on for agricultural usage. Just like, and then they provide grating machine, just like the small grater in your kitchen is an example of the processing facilities being produced by the industry. Then the 8th relationship that we have is the provision of storage facilities. Industries provide storage facilities such as they provide storage facilities for agricultural produce, such as the cold room, the silos, and then the cribs. And then they also, just like your refrigerator being used for storing your juice, storing your tomatoes, and then your pepper, is all your frozen chicken that is being used in the storage of frozen chicken. All these facilities being used for storage are being produced by the industry. Now we'll be taking a revision question. Mention 2 industries that use each of the following agricultural produce as raw material. The first one is cotton seed. Well, cotton seed is being used by the textile industry and then the oil mill, because the seed are, now we are talking about cotton seed. The oil mill make use of cotton seed because they actually extract oil from the cotton seed, and also the soap industry actually makes use of the oil being extracted from the cotton seed in making of soap. Then the coffee seed. The next one is coffee seed. That is industries that make use of coffee seed. We have the beverage industry, we have the coffee industry, we have the breweries, which make use of it in making of drinks and also of making beverages, just like your Nescafe. And then we have industries that make use of groundnut seed. We have the oil mill and then the fuel mill. The oil mill extracts oil from the groundnut seed, and then the fuel mill make use of the groundnut cake in making livestock feed. Then we have the palm kernel. The last one is the palm kernel. Industries that make use of the palm kernel. The oil mill make use of the palm kernel as its raw material. That is, they extract oil from it. And then the soap industry make use of the oil being extracted from the palm kernel in the production of their soap, while the feed mill make use of the cake. Because after the oil mill has extracted the oil, the remnants will be the cake of the palm kernel, which can be used in the feed mill in the production of livestock feed. The next topic under the theme